Hey, this is Lilith Evernight, and I wanted to make a couple videos on a few things that I have been working on myself, and one of them was shadow work. I've been doing this practice for God knows how long. I'm not sure, but I love the way this, I forgot what it's called, but if you guys know what it's called, I know it's not a curtain, but I'm using it as a curtain. But anyway, it was just like I got it at Spencer's, so I was like really happy that I found it. So I was just talking about shadow work, mostly for beginners. I think I did a lot of practicing on, of course, like I said in my previous videos, on this makeup is kind of off, so I need better lighting. Anyway, I've been just doing my hair. I've been doing these dreads. Somebody told me that I need to show them off, and they have been growing, so I'm pretty surprised by that. But anyway, in the next few videos, eventually I'll start keeping them out. It's just sometimes I just have certain days where I'm like not feeling it. But anyway, shadow work. I've been doing a lot of that for myself as I've been, some people, if you know, there's different terms for it, but let's just say narcissistic abuse from just like people like that come into the spiritual journey as you take the path that that spirit is most likely assigning to you or directing to you. And for that reason, you attract a lot. Sometimes you can attract a lot of negative energy. You can attract even a lot of haters for just you being you. And I did a lot of this work in the privacy of my own home and my space. So, like I said, there's just a few things that happen in the spiritual journey that are out of your control, and it may not happen to everyone. So, don't be surprised if you end up getting attacked by strangers. Let's just say that, maybe not physically, but more so spiritually. My rosary just is like all over the place too. So anyway, that's another reason why I decided to do shadow work. And I need to go work out. But anyway, shadow work was something that I always knew about it, but yeah, I didn't start doing it until recently. But before that, I was working on shamanism and dark night of the soul, and I'm also combining doing chakra work as well, which has something to do with Reiki. So anyway, so let's just get to the point on what shadow work means. So everyone has a shadow self. That is why they call it shadow work. So everyone has a shadow self. Everyone has a dark side, a light side. And sometimes your dark side isn't always going to be your best side. Let's just say you have good qualities of waking up early, and you're the one that makes, is the breadwinner. I don't know. But you have one side of you that's dark, that may be addicted to alcohol or drugs, or maybe you have abusive patterns, maybe verbally. Maybe you can be the one who's verbally abusive, or maybe sometimes your shadow side can be your weaker side. So maybe you don't, speak up for yourself as much. But usually your shadow side is more the bully side of you. Like it's the darker side. So it's the side of you that people may even push your buttons over and over and over, and then you just snap. That is like your shadow side too, I would consider. So it's also the side that um, is good for you when you need to stand up for yourself. Like, I'm one of those people that I believe in light and love, but I also believe that there's beauty in darkness as well. But even though this kind of really has nothing to do with that, what I mean is that just because something is light doesn't mean it's all good. Like you have nighttime, it's beautiful at night too. So like what I mean is that your shadow side can also be beneficial. It can do this thing where like if you are, being attacked, especially in spiritual war or something like that, it can be great to maybe even do aggressive prayer, that is like, out of anger sometimes, like not necessarily towards the universe, but more towards the individuals who are causing those problems. So it can just come. It can be a negative. It could be a positive, but most of the time people consider it their negative side, quote unquote. So, which is leading to why, which is of course addictions of any kind. It can be drugs, alcohol, even social media, or things that are just like maybe make you overindulgent or a little too hedonistic. Um, Maybe focusing too much on what the Matrix is presenting to you, like being overly materialistic and whatnot. Let's see, your fears, that can also be your shadow self. Any fear, any phobia that you may have. Um, why, and you have, that's a part of your shadow side. And why are we afraid of those things? That is what shadow work is. It's like you have fears, you have addictions, you have, ignorance. That can also be your shadow side. The ignorance of things. Ignorance just means a lack of knowledge, um, and distractions. And what is distracting you? So what in your health as well, your the way your working habits, your sleeping habits, your eating habits, and just pretty much every side of your mind, body, soul, spirit that takes part of your shadow self, would be the need for healing, for shadow work. And when you do shadow work, and when you do have problems like that, like fear, certain fears or addictions, and a certain lack of knowledge, which some people would call it ignorance, or any sort of negative distractions, um, you have to ask yourself when you're doing the shadow work, like, what are those distractions and what is distracting you? Especially what is distracting you from your path. And when it comes to fears, you ask yourself, what do you, why are you afraid of those things? And what do you need to heal? Slash, what needs to be healed? So that is pretty much what you're doing, especially like for a beginner, like someone who's a beginner at shadow work. So you would just like pretty much just like meditation, right? You're like looking at all these negative things in your life or within you, and you are just like meditating and contemplating on them, and you're doing something about it. You're not You're pretty much like, it's another form of alchemy a little bit, I would think, because it is a form of alchemy, because you're taking a negative side of yourself and you are literally like not ignoring it, but you are healing it. You're questioning that side of yourself. You are asking questions to it, and you're using that to take your shadow and not use your shadow for negative purposes, but also you can use your shadow for positive purposes, you know. You don't have to be the bully, but you can stand up to the bully and not be afraid of using your voice, but in the correct way, without ignorance, and immaturity. So that is what shadow work can also do. Um, you can also, what are you learning? What are you learning and how? Like, what are you learning from? What are your influences? Are they negative influences? Are you listening to a lot of negative things on the television? Are you not going out in nature from time to time? Are you not meditating? Are you not working on your chakras? Are you not giving like 30 minutes, 20 minutes to even do like Reiki or to even eat something healthy? Make green smoothies instead of just eating like overly processed food. Are you instead of like do you ask yourself, do you have to like be angry, or do you have to complain and bitch all the time? Like, is there situations that you can like ask yourself and be like, okay, that happened, but like, is it worth my energy? Because sometimes like with the spirit realm or the certain entities that feed off of your negativity, like energy vampires, or whatever you even call it. I'm not gonna get into all that, but the whole point, they feed it off. You know, they feed off your, fear or whatever negative energy that they may like, and um, is it always worth having anger? Because it's like the secret with anger is that I think people enjoy being angry when they're angry, and I don't think it's always a bad thing to be angry. It depends on what it is, but if it's avoidable and it's not really necessary and you're always being that way, it's like it does something to you psychologically, I noticed, or at least with me. It's a huge distraction. It is a huge time waster depending on what you're angry about. If it's just like, especially if it's like trivial shit, it literally drains your energy. It drains your time, or at least to me. Like when I went through the spiritual journey, it really did. So I really had to ask myself those questions. Was it really worth every single minute? Where are you in, okay, where are you learning now? Okay, how are you learning? What influences are you learning from? Negative or positive influences? Is it negative social media, friends, or are you getting this knowledge from source, spirit? What are we doing to distance ourselves from these things that are negative? But at the same time, like I said earlier, we need our shadow side. We need our shadow side, like, to fight for us, as well. Especially when we have no one else to fight for us, we need to stand up for ourselves, and cutting off toxic places, people, and things. So that's pretty much like what shadow work is, like a little summary of it. It's, all those questions that you meditate and contemplate and instead of growing more into a karmic or negative being, you take that negativity and you cast light, or you alchemize the situation through shadow work. So anyway, blessed be. I make spiritual videos, witchy videos, and topics. Sometimes I do tarot readings, and sometimes I just do spiritual vlogs. And, you know, it's a spiritual channel, it's an artsy channel. So it's like, to sum it up, it's like art, mostly spirituality and art. So yeah, blessed be, and please subscribe.